Hi, my name is Lee. They call me Minivan Lee because I live in my minivan full time, believe it or not. Sometimes I live in the city and sometimes I'm boondocking out in the wilderness. It's always an adventure. Laughs, sometimes a song here and there, but always a good time. Let's go.
Good morning, everyone. Guess what? I made you coffee. And so much more. I made it just the way you like. An appetit. Cheers. I really need this coffee. Okay. So, today, this morning, I'm going to reveal where I've been and what's been happening. It's going to be raw and unscripted, and I'm going to give you the skinny. It's been a crazy 5 days. Crazy. I've been in Parker at the casino, parked at the casino, and there are hundreds of RVs that park here, and they can stay as long as they want. The casino doesn't mind. In fact, the Walmart right down the street, they don't care either. You can park at the Walmart, because a lot of Walmarts you really can't anymore, but they don't mind. Oh, coffee. Last night, I stayed up in the parking lot, in a different area of the parking lot, and we literally had our chairs out in the parking lot. It was like, I can't believe we're camping out. It's like I've become like a Walmart person at this point. It was hilarious. I have met two of the greatest guys. I mean, they are so fun to be with. My cheeks have been like, relax my cheeks, because it's been one huge laughter fest. They are so cool and so nice. And they've got a lot of things going on. They're trying to get their trucks sold so they can get a van, and everything's been needed to be coordinated up with them. And I figured, as far as I was concerned, I was sent here just to kind of help them, and they were sent here to kind of help me too, because it was funny. And most of the people I've talked to, when they come here, they've never been here before. The people that I've met, they've never come here before. They've just heard about it, and they came here. They only intended to stay maybe for half a day or a night, and they ended up staying like 4 or 5 days. I have met the most fantastic people. I met Tracy. You saw the photos of her canned ham. Cheers. I need coffee. I stayed up late last night, and I actually had. Okay, I don't drink, but I had a Mike's Hard Lemonade last night, and my cheeks hurt from laughing so much, and I had a really good time last night. So, unscripted, raw, honest, I'm not gonna lie, I slept in these clothes. I slept in these clothes last night because I just needed to get some sleep, and I knew that tomorrow, I knew that I was gonna leave this morning, so yeah, I slept in these clothes. I need a shower really bad. Although I know it doesn't look too bad. You're going to say, oh, you look fine. It doesn't look bad, but I do need a shower. And I need a Planet Fitness really bad. There's one where I'm at right now, but I just haven't I haven't gone inside yet. I wanted to drink some coffee, and I wanted to just talk to you guys and tell you what's been happening. So, met these two really great guys, and we may actually travel around just a little bit. One said he doesn't mind being on the camera, so he may actually be in a couple videos. One is totally, nope, I'm not going to be in the camera. So, Tracy left, and I met this guy who showed me how to get ice in the casino, where the water spigot was with the hose if you needed water. Like maybe put water in a bucket if you want to wash your car out here in the parking lot, which I never did. But I did go in and get ice. I had my ice in my car. Done the same for Tracy too. Tracy really wasn't that crazy about him. Well, he's an older guy, and he I guess because he showed me where the ice was, that somehow I was his newfound friend, and maybe more. He just, every time I looked, he seemed to be like right there in front of me. He's putting himself in front of me. And I didn't really venture too far from my van, except to maybe go get ice. Or I did go into the casino a couple times and have a nice meal. Really good food. They have like breakfast for like $2.99. They have, I went in for meatloaf. Really good. $5. See, they want you to go in and they want you to spend their money on their machines and not food. So they're bringing you in with food and drinks and Starbucks coffee for a lot cheaper than you can get at a regular Starbucks. Cheers, some more coffee. So yeah, it's been crazy. It's been a crazy 5 days. It's been a whirlwind. This is a great place, but it's also very strange. There are some strange people here. And yeah, you do have to be careful. I know you're all going to say, Lee, be careful, be safe. I am. I do. I am very discerning, and I'll tell you one of the reasons why. I mean, this guy kind of bothered me. But he eventually showed his true colors. When I met my two friends, he gave some slurs about them because I was kind of, I was hanging with them. I was talking to them with my chairs and everything. And I think he was mad because I wouldn't like go over there and talk to him too much. He kind of gave me the creeps. But it turns out that he hated dogs. If a dog barked or anything, he would walk up to people and say, "Could you keep your dog quiet? Could you?" And they weren't really. I mean, there was no problem. I think he was just and I really this is ageism, but I don't want to say age. But seriously, it did make me wonder, like, is he losing it? I suppose if you get really elderly out here, I suspect he may be around like 80 years old. I don't know, but I suspect that at some point, on some people, I mean, my dad's 94, he's fine, but some people, they're gonna start going a little downhill with the mental capacity, just creating problems for everybody. So people were going in. There's tough security. There's cameras everywhere in the parking lots. So anything goes down, they're going to be right here. So you got to keep, you got to be cool while you're here. They love you here, but you can't be causing problems. Or maybe you can, according to their behavior too, with how they treated this situation. But he was going around just yelling at people, and like he yelled at this one lady, and her husband came out, and he was kind of big. The husband was big, and he got in a big tiff with him. And then there was another couple that complained about him, walking around screaming at him for their dogs. Like, really? So security came by. We weren't here when it happened, but security came by and had to have a talk with him. And then there were reports that he was packing heat. He was walking around saying, "Yeah, I pack heat." And it's like, oh, great. Oh, great. So, long story. I know this could be a long story. So then at one point he walked by us and he made some slurs and I flipped us off, and it was like, wow. I told the guys, I said, I think this is more about me because he's mad that I'm talking to you guys, and I didn't go over to talk to him. He was told that he can't have any interactions with anybody. If he was going to stay, he didn't have to go, but he had to like not talk to anybody. Well, the next day I left. I thought I was leaving, and the two guys left because they're trying to get their truck situation going and everything. So I went with them. They got a storage. They put their stuff in it. That's a long story. Let's not go into that one. But so then something didn't work out, and so we thought, well, let's go back to the casino. We went back here. So he went by, and he just slowed down his thing and totally flipped us off. So the security guard said, and these guys are big guys. At a casino, a security guard at a casino is a big guy. I mean, because there's a lot of money here and everything. So I went in, I said, well, you said that you told me that I was to, if anything, that you wanted to know, let you guys know. So I did, and I guess they talked to him again. And I told him, I said, he's been kind of saying that he's packing heat. So they came and talked to him again. And then they said, well, what we want to do is we want you to shake hands. Shake hands with that bygone. I mean, otherwise everybody's going to tell you. And we totally understood. I mean, you're a casino. You don't need drama going on here. So he came over. I didn't run it. He was creepy to me. Creepy. But the guys did shake his hand. We didn't believe a word that he said. And we actually moved. So we moved up clear on the other side of the parking lot. And we're gone now. And we're moving on. I'll let you know where we are at this point. But it was, there are some weird people out here. Story number 2. Story number 2. The night before, there was this young couple, and they were younger, in a white minivan. He was walking around with crutches. And I didn't see the girl much. They maybe were in their maybe late 20s. And he's walking around with crutches. And I'm thinking, oh, that's kind of sad, But then finally, I'd walked up to him, and I said, oh, what happened to your leg, Oh, I broke my femur. I go, oh, wow. And I said, well, where did you break it? Because the femur's kind of long. And he pointed, and he went up to his hip area, and I'm thinking, that's not your femur. That's your hip. The femur's the leg, the upper leg, the largest bone in your body, the femur. So then he's in a minivan. Oh, I go, well, you're in a minivan, so am I. I go, kind of look at it. And so I met his girlfriend, but I was getting, this is where it comes in. I know that the Spirit is always, he's given me discernment on who's who and what's what. And because even the older gentleman, I knew. But so this younger couple, and I'm not getting good vibes from him, and he's trying to, and the one thing about me, he's trying to, and I said, well, I don't have a build out. They had this total build out. And he goes, oh, you need a build out. And he says, why wouldn't you want to, he's going to tell me, and I'm like, I'm not into that. Don't tell me what to do. Don't, being insistent that I get a build out. I think what he's trying to do is get access to my van, which I didn't show him. And so I walked away from them, and then the guy come over and started talking to my guy friends, who's parked pretty close to me. We had one space in between us. That way we could put our chairs in there in the parking lot. And we had really prime real estate. We were over by there were trees, and there was a grassy knoll over here and everything. It was really nice. I could put my solar out, and they don't mind. I mean, there are RVs out here that are they're parked. They got their levelers up. They've got their rugs out. They've got a big plant sitting out. They've got their barbecuers out. They're all barbecuing out here. And the casino does not mind. In fact, they love us here because people go in and spend their money on the restaurants, on the machines, whatever. This place, let me just also say, this place has a hotel, really nice. It's got a beach down below that's got a boating ramps. It's got an arcade for kids. It's got a cinema. It's got an amphitheater. And for any of us older ones, Frankie Avalon's going to be here. I keep seeing this. Frankie Avalon's going to be here, if we remember him. It's a pretty nice, and then they have this whole huge camping area. I think it's kind of expensive, but there's a camping area that you can pay, and it's got cable, internet, hookups, everything, electricity, showers, events, bingo down there. It's a whole nother area. Okay, so back to this young couple. Then they start talking, and I really didn't want to be around them, so I went in. I was going to go to bed early. it wasn't long to where they had taken their minivan and pulled into that space in between me and the fellas. And I was like, are you kidding me? I don't like them. And then two vehicles down was that older guy. I'm like, no. And I moved. I just moved. Nobody saw me move. They were just talking, and I moved. So in the morning, the guys called me and go, did you leave? You know, and I go, no, I just moved. And they said, we had to move too. I go, we think we're pretty close to y'all. So they eventually they realized this young couple was trying to set them up to rob them. And they didn't have, they were setting them up to rob them. It was just the way, and when they're maneuvering their vehicle in between so that I wouldn't be able to see what they were doing in the fella's van, or even the fellas wouldn't be able to see if they were going to try to get in, but they didn't. I mean, there's no way they can. It was locked up, and I'm sad. I knew there was some weird vibe about them, so I just walked away from these guys. But this is what's going on out here. So we went about our day. We laughed about it. We went about our day, trying to get them set up with storage and getting things settled with their truck. And we parted ways. I went to Walmart waiting. They told me later that they saw this couple. They had parked their minivan in front of something. They had things out, and they just like had stuff on their back, like they were walking away from it. It very well could have been a stolen van. Yeah, young couple preying on casino people or older nomads, thinking, well, what are they carrying? So I thought it was interesting that they were younger people. No offense on younger people, but I did find it interesting that they were younger people doing this and not, preying on older people. Because a lot of times, a lot of us are older. So that's that. This has been like one thing after another, and not anything really bad, but interesting. There's a lesson in everything, and the fellas and I, we were just like, there is so much to learn, because they're a little bit new. They've been doing it for a while, but they're a little bit new too. And yeah, and don't worry about they really, I've felt them out, and they are nice guys. I don't know, how long we're gonna like be totally traveling together. It could be a long time. It could just be in another week, we part ways, but I enjoy their company, and they enjoy mine. And I'm happy if there's any way that I can help them. I'm happy to, because you all know. I mean, I got help when I was at the hospital. I mean, you want to like pass it on, but they're worthy to help. They're worthy to help. I have no ill feelings about them, and they don't with me either. So it's been one big laugh fest at the casino. It's been interesting beyond interesting. Lots of lessons learned. Yeah. And I slept in my clothes last night. I didn't get you out a video yesterday because it was just so busy. Yesterday was busy going here and there, and trying to get things settled in. This was our last night gonna be at, and then we sat down and we parked. There was a gentleman that came by. I guess we looked like we were having a good time. When we parked, we had space in between us, and we had our chairs out there in a parking lot. Isn't that hilarious? Who would have thought that I was gonna somehow, hang out in parking lots? But I mean, in a previous video, I did mention to you, it's like the best of both worlds where I was at, but I didn't want to tell you where I was. It was the best of both worlds, because I had excellent cell service, and I was on a paved road, in case, for roads over there. AAA will not come and help you if it's on, or they're not supposed to, typically they don't, if it's a dirt road. So I felt safe about that, because you just never know. And I mean, I had facilities in there. Needed to use the restroom, I could go in and use the restroom. Hop, skip, and jump in there. There was ice in there. Good people. You want to be around people. You don't want to sit in there. They had a couple different lobbies that you could sit in that had chairs. I guess they used to have these couches in there, but they took those out because people would literally park there for the day with their laptops. People that parked out here. So they got rid of the comfortable couches. Now they have like these uncomfortable wooden benches, it's like, but still, if you wanted to sit there, I mean, I already have my power station, so I don't need that, but, if you didn't, you could go in there, and there's plugs close by that you could plug in and power up your iPhone or whatever. They did have internet service, yes, but in order to get the password, you had to be a guest at the hotel. I did meet another really nice gentleman. His name's Randy. Shout out to Randy. Hey, Randy. He was a level-headed guy. We all went into let's go to do meatloaf, night together. And we went in the afternoon. He goes, yeah, I'll go. And so we were all sitting around the table eating meatloaf in there in the restaurant. And a really nice man. He left also, and he left the day before we did, and so that's why I say shout out to Randy. I know he'll probably see this. Yeah, a little bit of drama here. Not in the middle of drama, but watching drama unfold around us, like, oh my gosh, it's here and there. So that's what has been happening, my friends. And I know that this might be entertaining for you. I didn't know what kind of video. I might actually do another one later, but I didn't know what kind of video I wanted to do for you. But I thought you might appreciate the unscripted, the real honest truth about things that go on out here on the road. Yeah. But we got on the road again real early this morning. Yeah. And then I was coming, there was another gentleman that I probably started to tell it. I'm just like trying to tell this whole, all that's happened in regular order. Forgive me if it's not in order, if it seems like, woo, what's she talking about? She's kind of flitting around. Forgive me on that. I think I told the story in order. But I was going to talk about the other guy, the Canadian that came by, and I didn't finish it. There was another guy, a Canadian that had driven by. He had a really nice big Sprinter type. Those kind of, it looked like one of those trucks, the Amazon trucks. They're like Sprinters, and they're all different sizes. I guess I call them all Sprinters. He drove by and he saw us sitting out, and he goes, what's going on around here? As if we know. Maybe we do know, And he said, well, not much. And he goes, how's Quartzsite? Everything's winding down in Quartzsite. I mean, it's going to start getting hot. Everybody's kind of gone already. Still some people. I guess there were still some people in Parker. Well, we were still in Parker. And so I told him about there's a party art. If you know, for those of you who aren't on the road, if you are on the road, you know what party art is. But if you're not on the road, it's like the RTR, the Rubber Train Rendezvous. But there's been a kind of a splinter of that group, and they call it the party art. So they're more the partiers, and they're just, it's got fun. I don't really know how you describe them. In my mind, you might describe them as like they've kind of splintered off from like Bob Wells and the cheap RV living and how and they're kind of like doing their own little group thing now and having their own little gatherings. So I guess there was one that was near Parker, and it was called, the Partier, and I told him about that, but I think he thought about it, and he was actually in a wheelchair. He travels in a wheelchair from Canada, and he travels in the winter. So he says it's still snowing in Canada, in Alberta. So he goes, well, do you care if I join you guys? So he got out, and he sat with us out in the parking lot. Oh my goodness. So he was a nice man. Yeah. I guess he was in a wheelchair. He had been in a airplane crash, and I think he said he broke every bone in his body. So he's been in a wheelchair ever since, but he gets around all by himself, and he travels in his Sprinter. But it was a big one. It was a huge one. But he had to have a huge one because he travels with this big wheelchair. So, and he takes care of himself. And he was telling us about this. He told us the story of this lady. She's 87 years old. The only person ever to get kicked out of the Walmart parking lot. I said, did she get kicked out of the parking lot or the actual Walmart? And he says, the parking lot. And I guess that there's this 87-year-old woman around who drives it must be a truck, and she's pulling a some sort of a small fifth wheel or some small trailer, and she lives in it, but she's always falling down. I'm like, that's crazy. That's not good. I mean, not for her or anybody else. If she falls down and she can't get up, then she has no business driving this piece of equipment and pulling a trailer. And and then he said she's a hoarder type too. So I'm like, oh my goodness. Her family needs to do something, or somebody needs to, help her, or go to the authorities and say, hey, it's just not good. It's not good for anybody. It's not good for her. And, but to get kicked out of the Walmart parking lot, it's pretty crazy. And, he said it's like she wants to be adopted. I'm thinking, well, there you go. You can adopt her. I can't adopt her. She needs family. So, yeah. What do aging nomads? Where do they go? Another question? Where do aging nomads go? I don't know. Hopefully, they don't fall down in parking lots and can't get up, and they begin hoarding. And I guess she's got an animal too. But these are stories that I hear, and I'm relaying them to you so that you can experience this adventure. Because my eyes are like, bling, really? That seems crazy. So this is an adventure, and I'm happy to take you with me. I only hope that I can describe these adventures that I have correctly to you so that they're understandable and not flitting back and forth. Yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this. I want to get you a new instructional video up soon, and not just cheers, coffee chats, although I think this one will be interesting. Hopefully. If you consider, like, the pioneers how often did they wash their hair? And I know that, well, my parents were born in 1927, and my mom grew up on a farm, and she tells a story that they took like a shower, or took baths. They all took baths and washed their hair on a Saturday night. So I guess it's not so bad, but I'm just used to. Like I said, I enjoy being a city mouse. I'm near a Planet Fitness now, so I'm gonna go in and I am going to get a shower and work out. But I wanted to get this message out to you. Love you guys. Hope you enjoyed it.